Welcome to Authentic with Brazil 201. I'm your host, Brazil 201. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about Netflix's latest hit rom-com movie, Voicemails for Isabelle. Now, Voicemails for Isabelle is another Zoe Deutsch rom-com. And I have to say, similar to People We Meet on Vacation, this is a movie that should have been in theaters because this type of rom-com is something that theaters are missing, and I have to say, because last summer, Zoe Deutsch had the Threesome movie, I think it was called The Threesome, where it was where her and a girl get pregnant the same night because of one guy who bangs both of them, and look, I love Zoe Deutsch as a romantic lead white girl situation. She is beautiful, she's amazing, I think this set it up, the threesome I'm always in on a Zoe Deutsch movie. In the same way I'm always gonna be in on an Emily Batter movie or an Ella Purnell situation. It's great. So, the way this movie works is that we follow, first a young Jill and a young Isabel, and a young Isabel is, like, sick throughout her entire life until one day, the sickness, takes over. She dies of, cystic fibrosis, okay? And what happens is she dies and, it's very sad and it breaks you. They're not twins, by the way. This is like they're about 3 or 4 years, apart. So what happens is that Jill is an aspiring baker in San Francisco now, is constantly what's it called? She's constantly calling, the voicemail leaving voicemails about her life and her chaotic life. What she doesn't realize is because the phone number hasn't been paid for in forever, that the number goes back into the pile and gets reassigned to this Austin realtor guy named Wes, played by, Nick Robinson, who, good-looking white boy. Much better looking white boy in this than the threesome white boy. Because once again, I'm just saying it's hard to pull Zoe Deutsch, okay? And also Luke, like, my other situation is Lucas Gage is in this movie, and for whatever reason, Lucas Gage gets to be the fuck boy guy who fucks all these girls while they're at, like, their bottom, because he gets to fuck Emily Batter and People We Meet on Vacation. He has to fuck Zoe Deutsch in this, and he's just a complete asshole. He also fucks, if I believe he fucks, Maddie in Euphoria before he gets, like, beat to shit by Nate. And anyway, he begins getting we go through the 2 dates, right? Jill is on a date with Lucas Gage, and Wes is at a date with some crazy dominatrix trick and crazy sexing happens. He receives the first voicemail, he's just adorable, and he kinda, you know, gets it. And then he becomes kind of invested in Jill's life, and he learns about, Jill's date. And then, by the way, Jill dates some like cool podcaster guy. And I was told by many people, right, that um white women, smart, intelligent white women don't want to date a podcaster because podcasters are bad. But yeah, he dates this popular podcaster guy who's supposed to be, I guess, just to be like a light-skinned black version of I don't know, there's that Indian guy with creepy blue eyes podcaster that, like, all the celebrities go on. I don't know his name, I'm not, like, involved in that, but he's basically a version of that. And she hears about the voicemails about fucking Arthur, who's the chef, and the podcaster Tyler, and her desire to become a, baker. Then, like, Wes kinda realizes, "Oh, Isabel is dead," and he becomes obsessed with Jill because she just seems, all of it. What's it called? Wes's best friends are Andy and, Bretta, who are engaged, and they're like, "I don't think you should be obsessed with this. I think you should find a way to reach out to her. If you can find her on Instagram or this and explain the situation, whatever." He gets another voicemail after the podcaster ghosts her after they bang. So, what happens is Jill crashes one of the live taping of the podcast and calls him out. Wes convinces his boss to send him on a work trip to San Francisco because remember, Wes lives in Austin. And he attends this podcast event, follows her out, and he knows everything about her, despite the fact they never meet because of this. And he does the because there was a movie she was like, she really wish and, like, that she wishes this was happened, and he invites her for tacos, they bond, and she shows him around San Francisco. Then he takes over this, like, TMZ bus tour thing, and Jill's like, she's unsure about her career, and then the fucking tour guide quits because he's an asshole. Wes takes over the bus, everyone enjoys it. He woos Jill. He gets kicked off the bus. Jill kisses him. She makes him dinner. Tells him the story about how his mom used to make this amazing chicken pot pie, but she wishes he needed a recipe. But hearing the key details of it, Jill is able to guess the ingredient that makes it perfectly the same. And then she's like, she used to learn how to cook while her sister was sick at home. And Wes does not tell her about the voicemails. Then Wes brings Jill to Brenda and Andy's wedding. And remember, Brenda and Andy know everything about Jill too, because they know about the voicemails and all the same. And what's it called? Jill's about to leave a voicemail and she sees Wes's phone ringing, and that's when she finds out about it. She is heartbroken. Um, and what happens is she loses the voicemails after she updates her iOS phone. This is the part of the movie. Oh, that's right. Also, Wes has this hacker friend at work that is able to hack into things very easily. And that's how he's able to be such a good real estate broker or do deals and shit like that. So then the movie separates and um we see Jill dive into work, and Jill loses the baking competition to Lucas Gage. And then Jill goes into a rage. She quits. Her parents come to visit her for her birthday, and they give what would have been Isabel's college trust fund money to Jill so she can start, a dessert nacho truck named Jill and Izzy's. And what I'm confused is about this is that, okay, this is America. I have no idea what the parents' jobs were, but health insurance is expensive. And this child was in and out of hospitals her entire life. In most American movies, this situation would have been meant that they're broke because of all the health insurance bills. That's what I thought they were going to do, but somehow they're not. That they were able to afford all the health insurance things for Izzy's sickness and all that. And that's good. I'm glad they didn't do the whole thing that were crumpled by debt from the health insurance thing. Um, Meanwhile, what's it called? Wes is constantly going to this taco spot, hoping he sees Jill again. Brita updates Wes. It's New Year's Eve, right? Brita updates Wes on Jill's new business. Um, and because they follow her on Instagram because they became friends. They followed her on Instagram, and they explained that she lost all her voicemails after she updated an iOS software. And she seems heartbroken. So what happens is West tries to get Felix's coworker to try to retrieve the voicemails, and he's like, "I don't want it for a deal. It's just for a girl so she can hear all her dead sister's voicemail messages again." With Wes, on New Year's, right? Wes leaves a voicemail explaining that he changed his work line and he paid for Isabel's old number for 2 years so she can continue to speak to it. He won't listen in. He invites her to, like, meet at the fucking taco restaurant, Josie's, because Jill is visiting her parents. While Jill's visiting her parents, she's happy to discover that, like, the voicemails all magically popped up to her phone. This is the part where I don't think that's how realistically that would happen, and also, I'm confused, aren't the voicemails there? I don't you know what? Whatever on that. But Breda and Andy, rush through the streets, and they're happy to find Jill at Jose's. They kiss, and then they're at a San Francisco part. Wes calls Isabel's number, asking for her blessing to date. At the same time, Jill, calls Isabel how he doesn't like to dance and all this, and then randomly, a DJ begins to play Robin's "Dancing on My Own," which seems to be a key trademark of every Netflix fucking movie, rom-com, is that they play this song. And I've only by the way, I wanna say I only began to hear about Robin from either it was Baby Girl or People We Meet on Vacation is the only reason I began to discover who the fuck this was, and now, like, I'm all in, right? Like, I'm all in. It is whatever had happened. There We Go. Apparently, like, there was a version of this movie with, like, Haley Steinfeld, but, like, Haley Steinfeld had to drop out. I'm trying to imagine, like, what this movie would have been like with Haley Steinfeld. I don't think I maybe it would've worked because Haley Steinfeld was, like, a good rom-com girl or whatever. But look, I'm always in on a Zoe Deutch movie, okay? But, happy. I like that. I think movies like this could have been released in theaters. It's a very good rom-com movie, right? Is it now, do I think it's as good as People We Meet on Vacation? No. I think People We Meet on Vacation is probably one of my favorites, up with That Awkward Moment and Crazy Stupid Love, and I assume Emily Batter's 13 Going on 30 remake with Logan Lerman, another Golden Light boy, is gonna be fantastic because, like, Emily Batter's just got it. But yeah, great movie.